Good morning, everybody. What's going on? It's your girl, Tracy Williams, and I have my most talented and creative friend with me today, Yiqing, in the
Hi
house.
everyone, good morning.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you are here. As you guys are jumping on, do me a favor and send us, put the name of your business in your box if you have a business name in there. We love to see that. Welcome, YouTube family. And then I want to welcome my Facebook family. Yay. And
Yay.
I know that you have to give permission now to go in here and go live. So if anything happens and I disappear from the screen, that's on purpose. I just want y'all to know I'm taking a picture of her alone, okay? Because she is beautiful inside and out. But I'm so excited that you guys are joining us this morning.
Yeah,
Make
me
sure that you
too.
share this page, okay?
Absolutely.
Today is all about creativity, and I love it because I believe, God gave gifts and creativity to every single person, every single animal, mammal, walking, creeping, crawling on this planet. And you know what? Life without creativity would be pretty boring, don't you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you guys' opinion? How do y'all feel about that? I think it would be absolutely like everything would just be bland and
I think a lot of times, people just make too much of a big deal about it. Because when you think about it, actually, when you are doing your working on your garden, that is actually creativity, right? When you're cooking, oh, cooking is so creative because you're just making something from scratch, right? When
exactly.
you are I don't know. Sometimes when you do baby talk with your dog, like how did you come up with those baby talk? Like how it just came out of nowhere. And that is your creativity working. So I think it's just like we take it for granted. We don't know it's creativity, but it actually is. And then when we actually get on to do something that is like writing or, you know, painting or things like that, and then you freak out because you think that's the big deal. But actually, it's not really any different from cooking or gardening or baby talking to your dog, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, and I love that you brought that up because I'm a fan of watching Gordon Ramsay because I love the cooking. I love baking more than cooking, but I love how you can just put everything on the plate and make it just look like take a picture of it, make it look like it's an artist did this thing. They put their heart and their soul into it because it's got to be inviting. You gotta love it with your eyes and your all your senses, right? I mean, not just your taste, because you ain't gonna put it in your mouth if it don't smell good. Then you'll be like, ugh. That's kind of like me at Taco Bell. I don't like going inside Taco Bell because I don't like the smell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tracy, can I quickly stop you for a second? Because I
sure.
noticed the banner here is that
Oh,
I
hold on,
yeah,
let me
that's
stop
not
the
our
banner.
banner, but that's fine. I was like, hmm?
Thank you for telling me. Okay, let's see. How do I do? Okay, I got it. Don't worry, I'll get it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. See that shows I gotta put my glasses on. My real glasses. Yeah, but hey, thank you for joining us, Miss Weavers in the house. There we go. Hey, thank you for joining. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is fun being creative. Yes.
Oh, Hazel, hi. I missed you. I haven't seen or talked to you in so long. We got to catch up. Thank you, Miss.
Oh, hi, Kathy.
Awesome. Look, everybody knows Miss Kathy Weaver, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I would say she's a lady around the town, but she's like a global, a known lady now, right? Yes,
Global network lady. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What are some ways that you enjoy being creative? If you can, just throw them in the box for me because I just love to see like what are some different things that you do in your creativity. I know for me, I used to love gardening outside, but when I started having trouble with my knees, I didn't want to walk all the way to go out there and water my garden. So I had to bring the garden closer to me. But I just love it, like just being out there in nature and just seeing all the beautiful things that God has created, the bees and the butterflies, and people will say, well, how can you stand being out there with the bees? Well, I know what they're doing, right? right? They're making love with the flowers so they can produce some good vegetables for me and for my family and anybody I would give them away to. So yeah, I love all that kind of stuff.
That's what my late grandpa did when he was like working on the farm all the way until he was in his late 80s or early 90s. He lived to 100 years old. He passed 100, but yeah, he was just awesome.
Wow, that's pretty
Photography,
cool.
cooking,
A
reading, and
100 year old.
volunteering. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, how fun. Photography. Love it. Yes. Cooking, reading, and
Well,
volunteering. Amen. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good morning, Mr. Lisa. Welcome. That's the Sisters Helping Others Prosper. If I got that wrong, you just put the name of your business in the box. I know it's Sisters Helping Others. It's shop because ladies like to shop as well. So there's even some creativity when we go shopping, just putting things, matching things together. Now, that's not my thing because I like it to already be ready together, matching on the rack. So I don't have to, I just don't like to spend all day walking around and that's just not my thing. So my husband
I
loves to shop with me because he knows I'm not going to take long.
that's what I do with my mom. We would just go shopping. Sometimes we don't even really buy that much. We would just, we call it just window shopping, right? And then you get ice cream and you talk about things and yeah.
Awesome. Well, somebody do me a favor and share this, please, because I can't like get my phone and hit the share button and all that stuff this morning. I just want to concentrate solely on this wonderful girl. She is awesome, and I'm just fascinated by her because she is super creative. She's fun. She's fearless, and I love that about her. We just really connected like right away. Like we got a good vibe, and I was like, yeah, I don't even need to. I could just tell even before we even had a good conversation and we met. I did our little one-on-one. I was like, she's super cool. I got to have her on the show. So this is going to be really valuable for you all. So please make sure that you share this. Let others know, especially if you know anybody who is a writer or somebody who likes photography or somebody who likes to be an author or do storybooks or any kind of things, painting, writing, everything. Make sure that you let them know about this. So one thing that fascinated me about Yiqing is this. She has went from total intellectual job where you would just be straight left brain to something that I call total right brain. So from one side of the spectrum to the other, right? She was in the medical field. And then, so I'm going to let her tell like a little background of how all that transpired. And the reason I want to do this is because resilience is so important when it comes to self-care. We got to know how and when to switch and to change and to move and to get in our groove, so to speak, right? So just tell us a little bit, share us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was in college. I was in China doing this basic medical program, and that was my bachelor. I got my bachelor's from that, and so I was doing insane amount of work. It was a 5-year program, 250 credits, and I was like performing on the side. I was always performing. I did all kinds of performance that I could do on stage, like debating, hosting, public speaking. Dancing, singing. I also played the piano. So I did all of them, but acting, which is very funny because now I am a professional working actor, but acting was the only thing I did not do when I was in college. So then I was like doing experiments on rats. That was my last year of college, and I was doing experiments on rats. I was working on this study of treating depression with a combination of traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine. And so I was supposed to make the rats depressed. But I did not succeed. I made myself depressed. Rats are actually very resilient animals. They don't get depressed as easily as we do. So I got depressed. I had a whole bunch of anxiety issues. So I had to just quit that study and really focus on taking care of myself. It was just that bad. So I was like lying in bed, in a hospital bed, and thinking, what is the point if I am to be a doctor treating physical bodies, but I myself am dying inside. My heart and my soul. What do I do with my heart and my soul? So that was like a turning point, where I just decided this is not working for me. I have to change. And change always happens. It takes you, really, it's just that one thing that makes you decide to change. But then you take a step out of your comfort zone. You take a step out of the normal, then you probably feel not very comfortable, and then you would want to pull back. And that is why people, when we think about change, we get scared, is really because of that. And a lot of the things is really about your beliefs, because you have this existing set of beliefs regarding the world that you're living in. But getting to do something different, or getting to be someone different, requires you to expand your beliefs a little bit, to say the least. I'm not saying you have to completely change your every belief of yours, but definitely you have to expand them. So basically, you are like this animal in a cage, and you want to get out of the cage because this cage no longer fits you. Like my world before, it no longer fit me, so I have to get out of it. But then that cage is actually made by my existent beliefs. So in order to get out of the cage, I really have to break free, like just take down all those fences, right? But here's the thing, is that the fences, they are invisible. They are not the actual fences of an actual cage. They are invisible. They are made with your beliefs. So you just have to be really gentle and aware of what you are running into, because you will be constantly banging yourself against that cage. And the more okay you are with this process, the easier you will find about making the shift into something new. And it applies to everything, I believe.
Wow, that's really cool. I love how you were working with the rats and you were supposed to make them sad, but you just couldn't do it. That is impressive. And that just shows a lot about your humanity in general, and be able to see beyond, beneath the surface is what I call it, seeing beneath the surface. So, wow, I never would have thought about rats being resilient. So,
They're very resilient. You would be amazed by them. The animals are just amazing. I am a big fan of animals.
okay, very cool, very cool. Well, and I just, yeah, and can you guys tell that she's a coach, right? She's a creative coach. I can tell she's a coach, right? She's already coaching right now. So I love the information that you're giving us. So just tell me, like, what type of people do you help? What kind of people come to you?
I help artists, I help entrepreneurs, I help people who are making changes in a, career change, or just I want to reinvent my life. I want to set out on a new venture. So I help these people. Because the reason why I'm just drawn to these people is that you have to be really brave. Like I'm just saying, so for example, if you're a creative person, right? If you are an entrepreneur, we are basically making things from scratch. We don't have a proven roadmap. Or even if you find a proven roadmap, does it work for you? You have to come up with something by yourself that really resonate with you. And it's the same thing with people who are making career changes, or who are just want to be a different person. Like, I'm so tired with my old self, I want to step into a new self. Then you have to work from zero. Sometimes you really just have to work from zero.
Yeah.
And that is a very it can be very daunting, it can be very scary.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of times that's what we don't want to do. And I love the Lisa's comment, like it requires you to step out of your comfort zone, or, and just be in that place where you're okay with being unokay. Like
Yeah.
it's totally okay to not be
For us
okay.
not to be okay. Yeah.
Exactly, right. So like we have to teach little kids like it's okay to be upset. It's just not okay to share that in a negative way where you hurt other people or you hurt yourself, right? So yeah, go punch the pillow or something. But don't
Or
punch
write a
me.
poem. That's what I do.
Come on. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And you know what? Since you said that, that's the exact thing that we should do that brings us, those are one of the things that brings us out of our trauma is like when we've experienced something so traumatic that we can't even talk about it, write about it, put it down on a piece of paper, And so we got a question here for you.
Am I in Kansas? No, I'm in Jersey City.
So she's in New Jersey.
Yeah, but I work virtually. Everything I do is virtual.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, so this is really cool. So how do they start from ground zero, especially when you're scared and you put up those invisible walls?
How do you start from ground zero?
Yeah.
I would like to see it as making bread, you know. You just need a starter. It's like making sourdough, right? You but you got to be patient. You need a starter and you got to be patient. It can be see I if we go back to what I said at the beginning of this conversation is that we take it for granted in our day-to-day life. We just don't think it's creativity, but it actually is. And I think that is a very good point to start. Like even if it's just cooking, right? If you say I want to be more creative in my life and I don't know about anything else, but I like to cook, then you invest in that. And when you invest in that one thing, the second thing will come up from that one thing that you invested in. And I think that's how you make your roadmap yourself, is that you start from just the one thing that you know you are actually good at and you really genuinely, truly love to do. You start from that. And the second thing will show up. Because chances are when you invest in your cooking, the next thing you know is that you start taking a video of you making this. Say I made like a Thai curry chicken quinoa dish the other day, and then I just started talking about it, and then people get drawn to me because that brings people together. Food brings people together. When
Yes.
you start doing that, you see, like how I talk about it is like I'm just so comfortable talking about this because I honestly just love it.
Yeah, that passion.
Exactly. So that's
Yeah.
how you start with everything. It's the same with gardening. For my dad, is fishing. It's there must be that one thing that you really like, and as long as you like it, you will be good at it. And you just invest in that one thing, and the second thing will show up. The second
Wow.
thing might be someone invites you to the podcast, like what you did, right? The second thing might be someone connected to you over the internet because they saw this YouTube video and they're like, I have this cooking school and I want to invite you to give us a talk or something like that. And then the second thing will lead to the third thing, the fourth thing. And then at one point there will be an explosion.
Yes, that's
We
the
just
part
don't,
that
yeah, we just
people
don't know
can't wait
when.
for, right? That's
We
the
just
part
don't
that
know when. Yeah.
exactly right. But that's the part where people just sometimes we're impatient. So, and we want the explosive part. We want to blow up. We want it to be big and wow, but you still takes all the little things on the in between. But I love the steps. I'm taking so many notes. Look, I love this because, and the reason I say invite people, that are creative or want to be creative or do certain things is because when you hang around other people that have creative ideas and you just begin to listen, you start coming up with ideas for yourself. So I should have said, hey, you guys get your pen and paper out because I guarantee you when you're listening to her talk, you're going to come up with some ideas already, right? So when she said come up with that one thing cooking, I was like, wow. I remember when I had a dream one day, and I've never done this before. So I had a dream, and I saw myself. No, I saw a lady in the store. She was baking a cake, and then she started decorating the cake. The next thing I know, well, in between that, before that, I started watching the cooking channel all the time, right? And it was Christmas time, so they baking sweets, right?
Yeah.
So then the next thing I know, I'm in this. I go to the Walmart that they tore down in Kansas City on Bannister Road. So I go to Walmart. There is this lady doing exact. I was like, OMG, she was in my dream. She was doing this. So it made me want to. It just attracted me to that, to want to do that. So the next thing you know, I'm taking a class on decorating cakes because I could bake a cake, but I'm like, I didn't know how to decorate a cake. The next thing you know, I'm like, I need a job to do this, right? Because you can't learn from home because people are giving you orders, not the same as getting really fast at it and getting really good at it really, really fast, really quickly, right? And being able to turn that passion into profit. And so I did those things. So anyway, I'm just saying, if you guys know some creatives, you need to share this with them because you're going to come up with ideas. It could be even, you see this piano behind her, right? It could be somebody looks at that and says, shoot, I need to create some more music. Or yeah, I've been going through a hard time. I've been feeling depressed. So I need to write a poem about it. And then take that poem and turn it into a song. Then, things go from there, right?
I think it's just about really about. I always like to say surrender is a big part of creativity. You just
Mm.
don't be a control freak. But we it's very easy to become a control freak because
We're talking
you
about me
know
like that.
yeah. I mean, that's what I learned from a lot of the women in my life. Is just I feel sometimes, we have that tendency because we are just naturally insecure, and
Mhm.
especially for my mom, just definitely she was like, oh, I want to make sure this is right. Oh, this is like she wants everything to be in perfect place. But what is perfect? Like, what is it? That is something that you make up in your head, and then it will never fit that exact image of the perfection that you have in your head. So you're always living in this place of, oh, this is not enough, this is not perfect, And I think that's how the negativity comes from. It's really because, you never let go. You never let go of your control, and you never surrender, and you never trust. We really have to trust to be creative, to let our creativity juices flow.
True. Right. And that kind of goes back to that right brain, left brain, because the left brain wants to
Be logical.
know exactly. Yeah, we want to figure it out and know how it's going to happen and all that. So we just got to find that one thing that we're passionate about and start there, like you're saying, something that we really desire. I mean, I'm taking notes, y'all, right? And then I love how you said we have to invest in ourselves. So be willing to invest in yourself. And it may mean taking a class. There's so many classes online now you can take for free. Some are low cost, but you get what you pay for. Just remember that. So I think that's really important because that builds that roadmap. So I mean, if we want, we like things in steps sometimes. 1, 2, 3, right? So there's 1, 2, 3 for you guys right there. I mean, alone. Find that one thing you're passionate about, invest in yourself, develop that roadmap. That means write it down. I like to say, sing it, say it, pray it, and those things will begin. Then the next step starts to happen for you. So great tips right there. Okay, we're gonna move on, but I just want to make sure that you guys are getting this down. And is anybody getting any creative ideas here? You don't have to share with me what they are, but I just want to know, like, is anybody getting something? Hey, yeah, I could do this, or I could take that idea and do that. Put something in the box for us and just let us know because we really want to be able to give you value on this podcast so that you are able to take your passion and turn it into profit, right? I mean, that's one of the truest forms of self-care that we can think of, especially. And when I say profit, it's not always about the money, even though I am about the money, but because, my new saying this year is like, if it ain't making money, it ain't making sense. So the making sense part is if it's not profitable for you, if it's not fruitful for you, then that's not something that you should continue. But if it is, continue down the roadmap that she was telling you about and keep going and expect the next thing and get out of the fear. So what are some things as a coach that you can do to help people get out of the place of fear?
It really starts with changing your beliefs. That's 90% of the time I'm doing that work. Like I just said in the beginning of our conversation, is that there's this invisible cage that you are in. And that's why the process can be very uncomfortable when you reach that certain point where you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. yeah, I'm not out of the cage yet, but I'm also not in it. Like that is the most scary part is that I can't go back to my old place. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm also not in the new place yet. I'm not on the other side yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do is to help them work on their beliefs. And that is really the 90% of the work is because your belief determines your action.
Yeah. So
If
true.
you're, yeah, and then your action determines your results. So if you are not seeing results and if you're not, you know, most of the workshops or classes out there they teach you, oh, you need to do this, actors, you need to start getting your headshots ready, get submit to agents and managers and this and that. They're all the doings, but here's the thing, are you doing those things? Are you really doing those things feeling you're truly empowered? Most people would say no, or they would just say, I am like, I don't know, I know everything I'm supposed to do, I'm just not doing them. That's really because of the belief. So you got to work on that. Otherwise, you have all the information in the world, you won't be able to do them. You won't be able to use them to your advantage.
Wow. So it comes back to that common theme of that could be a big thing why people procrastinate, huh? That belief
And
system.
it's just very hard to see because if you can see it by yourself, you would have done it a long time ago.
Right.
Right, you would have changed your life a long time ago, but then you're like, oh, I don't know if I should invest in that, maybe I can do it by myself. And then the longer you wait, the more time you wasted and the more frustrated you get with yourself because you're not seeing results, and that's really because you're still thinking your old thoughts.
Yeah. So we got to get out of that 90%. That can be kind of time consuming, I guess. So you got to really have that faith to really invest in yourself and take the time to get out of that belief system, right? Now,
It's a time and effort, and you really have to. I always start with working this with my client is that you have to be mindful, you have to be aware, because you can get a lot
mhm,
of value from a single coaching session, but then you are not paying attention to your thoughts, and the next day you go back to your old beliefs and you're not even aware of what you're thinking in your head. Then what's the point of getting the coaching? So the first step is always to be aware. And then that's where change starts to take place.
yeah. Okay. Well, I like that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And now, what about sometimes do you ever have clients that say, because creative people don't just have like that one thing in their mind or their head. They have so many things so many times, so they feel like, I don't know what to do. So I just get frozen and stuck and I don't do anything. Or they use the excuse of like, I got so many things to do, I can't really get anything done at all. Then how do you deal with them from that? Because we know that's a belief system, deal too. So what do you do?
These two things are actually not too different from each other. The one thing is that I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. The most likely, are you thinking, what is your belief? Like, what are you thinking? You don't know what to do, but you're not doing it. Most likely, you're not believing that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not believing that you can do it and you have it in you, then of course you're not doing it. So that is where the coaching comes in, is that you talk about things that happen and I will pick it up from pick pick up little bits of information and clues from your what you tell me. And then I would just ask you, what does that mean to you? So that is what that is the when you said, oh yeah, I don't know, like I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. And the other situation is that you have too much on your plate. Maybe you are seeing a big picture, because I am that kind of person. I know. I
Me
have
too.
I have a I have always have a whole bunch of ideas that I cannot, work on them all at once,
Mm-hmm.
which is why
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very important to journal. It's always good to journal so that you know what you're thinking and then you're not letting the ideas run away from you.
I love that. That's so
So
important, you guys.
I keep a
Journal.
lot of post-its. I'm not really at my desk now, so I can show you, but otherwise I have a lot of post-its. I have journal. I have little handbook where I write down like the title, headline of my articles. I would just write those things down. And I also use like a highlighter or marker to circle those important things in my journal, because I read a lot of journal that if I don't do that, chances are they get lost and I can't find
Yeah.
them later. So I just highlight them, or I fold this page, so I can always look back. Sometimes use voice memo on your phone. If you have an idea, if it's a song, if it's a poem, if it's a say a play where people they say lines, dialogue, record on your phone. I remember this one day I was like walking my foster dog, and he was doing his business and I was like recording on my phone. That was what we were doing. I was like recording and getting the ideas, because like when you're walking your dog, you can't really write things down, right? But you're still thinking. Of course, you're always thinking. And so what do? You can't write.
Right.
Then you take out your phone and do the voice memo thing. Right?
Exactly.
And you can do it when you're driving too, because you can text, you can do the voice memo when you're driving. You are just really like talking to yourself, because we talk to ourselves all day long. On average, a person has like 65,000 thoughts a day. It's crazy when you think about it, and 80% of them are negative thoughts.
Exactly. Yep. And part of that 80%, most of that are the same negative thoughts repeating themselves over and over. And so it's really important to learn how to like break that old record. Well, some of y'all probably don't even remember what records are or 45s, none of that, but break the CD, whatever it is. Just, and crush that thing. And so you can move on and be profitable and be happy.
Yeah, and I think here's the thing is that the process of doing the voice recording or writing, it's about showing your thoughts. Like make your thoughts seen and heard by you, by yourself. Because otherwise you don't even know. You will try to stay as much as aware as possible, but then sometimes you just can't control your mind. And this is actually a muscle that we have to, we keep working on all the time. But then this process of getting those ideas out, even if just for yourself, is a great practice, so that they are seen, they are heard, and you feel seen, you feel heard by yourself, that you feel, I am not neglecting myself.
Yes.
We are actually, by doing this, we are pampering our inner child, saying, hey, I hear you, I see you. This is what we do as little kids when the self has not formed yet. We do that to our parents. Mommy, I want to tell you my new story. So your parents have to see you and hear you. And if they don't do that, you feel neglected and you feel hurt. And now we have to be our own parents. But that's the good news, is that you can be a different parent than your parents. You know better than they did when they were at that time, because that's how human progress. We make progress generation by generation, right?
That's
So
right.
so now you have more awareness, and so you know how to do a better job at parenting your inner child, to get
Exactly.
those ideas out one step at a time, so that you are not overwhelmed by all those ideas. Because I mean, it's okay. It's endless. The creativity, these things are infinite. And we really should be grateful in the first place that we have so many ideas, rather than blaming ourselves for not being to do all of them at once.
Yes. I love that. Oh my God, this lady preaching, y'all. Y'all see why I love her? I'm just saying. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm just so excited. I hope you guys are taking notes. This is so important. And I love that you brought up journals. I got some journals that I created, and I'm going to be putting them on Amazon later today. And so I'm just excited about that. Different type of journals. It could be prayer journals, and those are really important for you to write your thoughts out, write scriptures that go with them. It could be like you were saying, if you have some lyrics and you're able to write them down, because a lot of times those lyrics come fast. And you really just need to record them, just like you're saying, or the poetry, especially poetry, when you feel like the Holy Spirit is giving you something and you can't write fast enough. So you just like start trying to repeat. That is so important. And I think it's important also to make sure that we keep these things in one place, because as creatives, a lot of times, since you have so many different ideas, a lot of times we get unorganized. If you just be honest, like, who gonna be honest out there with me and say there are times where I'm not organized and whenever I have a thought here, I jot it down and I'm like, what notebook did I put that in, or where did I put that, or the post-it notes. Especially if you keep post-it notes, keep them on the same board. It's really important to do that. And I love the idea of having post-it notes that are different colors, so you can that kind of gives you that priority system that you can work with as well. And I love this whole thing about the inner child. That is so important to do. So yeah, these are all great tips. Can y'all tell she coaching, right? So if y'all need a creative coach to help bring you, I tell it, round you in so you can find that one thing that's the priority for now, and then it'll spring off into all these other ideas, because I believe you're like me. Like I'm a visionary, right? So I see the big picture. So it's hard for me to just always do like the detail stuff, and I have gotten to the point where I'm just like, I just need to hire somebody to do this part and hire somebody to do that part. And that way I can focus on the one part that I'm really great at. And, I have no shame in saying that. So I love the idea of just, writing your ideas down. When you say them, it builds the faith in you to know that, and which removes all that negative talk and those lies, those unbeliefs. I call them, they just straight up lies, things that are not true. And especially the lie about, well, I'm not creative. Anybody that says I'm not creative has the wrong belief. And so you need to stop them in their tracks. Hold on, honey. Wait a minute. Let's talk about this. So you might have to do that with them and let them know, look, everybody has a creativity inside of them, and they just sometimes need somebody who can bring that thing in them and bring it out, right? So like diamonds in the rough. And diamonds, they got to go through that pressure. So you got to feel that pushing down or something like that. Hold still for me. And the next thing you know, there's this beautiful diamond. But that's awesome. Yeah. I used to, yep, that was me too, Miss Renee. Yep. I can so relate. Thank you for being honest.
Yeah, so just use a highlighter, use a marker to really circle them. And if it's something, if it's really important, if I get a lot of ideas or dialogues, for my scripts, then I have to, right after the journal, I have to transport them to either to a Google Doc so that I can store it in my computer, or I use a different, I use those little sheets of paper, of the cardboard box paper cards. Actually, they are in different colors. I write them down and I pin them on my little blackboard so that you place them in a very noticeable place. So you will look at them every day. I also have a little blackboard. I can write things on the blackboard. It's just really about utilizing every little bits of things. Like if you have a white wall, you put post-its on the wall. If you have this, you just use everything. And sometimes a lot of the ideas, they tend to repeat themselves. And if you find yourself repeating the same thing over and over again, then you might really want to do something about it. Because I see that as a sign reminding you that, hey, I want you to hear me talk about this. So you can work on that. That's how the priority thing kicks in, is that when you don't know which to start, if you have a deadline, if you have a hard deadline, then of course you do that first. But if you're working on things that are important to you but not urgent, you just keep the journal flowing. And when things show up repeatedly, that one thing that keep showing up repeatedly. Like recently, I wrote like 2 or 3 articles about me and my mom, that we were actually very codependent, and I didn't know. I just didn't know, and that was something that all of a sudden I got this idea, and I looked into it, and it keeps showing up, and I just told myself, hold on, I have to work on this. So I looked up things, did some research, and then got it out of the system. And after I got it out of the system, I felt 10 pounds lighter. I'm not gonna lie to you, 10 pounds lighter. Like my heart, whatever was in my heart that was blocking the energy, it got lifted. And that's how you keep your channel open. Because we, as creatives, this is a channel. And everybody has that. Everybody has this creative channel where you just let the energy flow. And piggyback on what you said, that if somebody says, oh, I'm just not creative, it's not because you're not, it's really because you block the channel.
I like how you said that. You blocked the channel. Okay, so that speaks volumes to me. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this today. Hold on.
We lost your voice.
Right. Like, I am so thrilled with the content that we have gathered today. And look, we haven't even really been talking that long, but it is 11:15, and like I try to be on time. So I'm gonna give you. I wanted to put in the box here where you can reach her. It's got her LinkedIn in there. It's got her website in there. And I also want to let you know that, you know what, she just got through writing a screenplay. And so I wanted her to tell us a little bit about that and like what comes next for you. And just share anything else that you really want to share with us too. And then you guys are going to have to catch us again next time. Oh.
So yeah, I made a short film last month. It's in post-production. My editor, my composer is doing the score for me, and so it's about writer's block. It's really about writer's block, and I think in this 7-minute, 6.5 minute short film, I'm just telling the story of me and my inner child. And my inner child shows up with all this playfulness, and I just dismiss it as you're being disruptive. But in reality, I am the one who needs to get loose, who needs to let go. I'm just holding on to all kinds of thoughts, and then I can't get my work done because I can't write. I can't, I'm just a miserable mess. And then my inner child pops in to show me the way that you just need to play. You need to have fun. You need to, just be silly and not take yourself too seriously. And then there's this one line that really hit me hard. This one line goes, oh, no wonder you hate mom. You're just becoming her. Like we're just becoming our parents, our overprotective, over controlling parents that we don't know. And then we're like, oh, why am I still not letting go with my parents being too strict or with my parents? It's really because I am just becoming them. And I don't like to become them. And I don't like myself becoming them. I don't like that version of myself. But then you don't know. It's really about that awareness where you have those blind spots in your mind and you need some outside source to help you look into that. And in this film, I'm just showing you that the outside source sometimes just lies within you. Like it's your inner child that jumps out of your body telling you, hey, you should do this. Like you just need to let go.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a powerful message right there. Because sometimes, when we get older, actually, I would say, once we leave 5th or 6th grade, we really start losing our creativity because, we don't have to take art class. And when something is not required, we don't always work on it. And it's something that we do need to work on is being playful, being mindful. And so that's one of the qualities about me that I love is like, I'm always like this little kid. I have this childlike faith. And then when I started getting stressed out over my job, and I began to be more aware of that, I remember how, I lost all of that. I became somebody else, all in working a job, right? I'm like, this is not working. I'm out of here. So finally, it took me 2 years from I'm out of here to like walk out the door and say goodbye. I'm gone. So, life happens when creativity stops being something that we do mindfully and purposefully. So we really have to be intentional when we want to be creative or when we know we are creative or we even think, if you even think you have an inkling of creativity, it's proof that it's true. It's there. You just need sometimes somebody to help you nurture it. And so this is a perfect lady to help you do that. I did put all her contact in there. So it's both on for the Facebook family and my YouTube family. You guys check it out. And also I'm going to share with you right quick that I'm just putting my website in here like later today. Well, tonight, I'm going to give myself to tonight that I am um, uploading some journals that I created that I'm going to be selling on KDP. And one of them is a journal for kids. It goes right along with my children's book, The Tree of Life. So you'll see like a little kid, she's laying on some books and under the tree of life, because life comes from different things, different resources. And so I think it's just a good creative thing. So it's an activity book. They can actually draw a picture on the page, and then beneath the picture, they can write their own story. It can be about whatever they want to write about. So I want to share this tip again. If you have a kid, grandkid, or know a kid that they have a problem telling lies or just not being able to tell the truth or keeping them straight all the time, you need to have them write those things down. That's how you start teaching them the difference between what's true and what's not true. So that's a good thing. And so then when they write those things down, then you can ask them questions like, did that really happen? And then empower them and say, hey, you are an artist. You can do this and you can do that. And, break that thing down about what an artist is. Because when we say artist, a lot of time we think of somebody who's just drawing really good or somebody who can paint really well, but it's not all about that. It's so much more. And you heard it today. Our special guest told us that it is indefinite. It is limited. You guys are limitless. You can do anything. You can do anything that you set your mind to. So I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm going to let her close us out today. Anybody, if you come up with some ideas about things that, you have creativity inside of you and you came up with some new ideas just from when you began watching this and listening, don't tell us what it is. I just want you to put something in the comment box and say, I got some ideas. Or put a little emoji in there about ideas so we'll know that, hey, yeah, you're getting value, because I want to keep bringing you some great content, okay? And so that's why I'm going to be selling some journals and t-shirts and all that great stuff. I'm excited. How about you?
Definitely. I think this is just really, as we were talking, a lot of the things that I said, I was not planning to say them. Like, I never really make concrete plans to do anything. That's just how I work. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to wing it. Like, I might have like a general outline, but then I just let things happen as they go. So I think that's also how I live my life. When you want to live a creative life, you do that. You don't plan too much, but then this is something you want to do, and then you aim and then you go. And after you aim, the nature will take its course. So don't. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So you guys heard it today. Just aim and find that one thing, aim at it, invest in yourself. Let me see, can I remember this? It creates that roadmap for you. So you got 3 steps, and then the next thing will happen. Use that childlike faith and just keep going. Thank you for joining us. I love you all. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you. See you.
Peace out.